Hey everyone, it's God Forgive Me. Welcome back to the channel. We're in High Realms, and today I'm going to be covering our handy little helpers, the Underlings. And if you're not aware of what an Underling is, it's these cool little guys down here that we can place on our island to help us either collect or spawn a certain resource. Now, in order to see what there is, we can go to Oberon here. He's in the Citadel. He's to the left of the Mines portal. Go ahead and click buy. And here's all 28 current Underlings in the game that you can go ahead and unlock and purchase, ranging all the way from just 1,000 coin all the way up to 2 million per Underling. So again, for example, if I were to go ahead and purchase a stone Underling because I have it unlocked, I can go ahead and put this on my island, and he's going to spawn some stone blocks that he's going to also mine himself, and he's going to put in his inventory that I can collect later. So I can go ahead and use it for selling it for a coin, or I can go ahead and use it for any kind of material that I need for creating or even just building on my island. So what I mean by unlocking, you go to the masteries here, you're going to see there are these Underlings that you can unlock in the certain masteries. So there's foraging, farming, mining, and forestry. So for example, going back to foraging here, there's only one that you can unlock, and it's the flower Underling. I have to get my overall foraging level up to 5 in order to unlock this specific Underling. Now, say if I unlock the flower Underling and then I went to farming, and under wheat, I unlock the wheat Underling and the carrot Underling. I now have 3 Underlings unlocked, which means I can go ahead and put on my island up to 3 Underlings of any combination of the 3. So I could put 3 carrots, I could put 1 of each, I could put 2 wheat and a flower Underling, so any combination. So once you get up to 28, all of them unlocked, you can go ahead and put any combination up to a maximum of 28 on your island. Usually most people will go ahead and either do watermelon or pumpkin for the coin based of how much money they'll make from doing that. But on the other side of that, you could also be doing this to go ahead and say maybe you want a specific ore, like you want to go ahead and build a castle with, say, limestone. You could go ahead and let this little guy help you on your island while he'll be spawning those blocks, mining them, and then that way, if you have enough of them, you can get building pretty quickly. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go on to my island. I'm going to show you what I believe is the best build setup for each one of these Underlings. Alright, now that we're back on my island, let's go ahead and discuss crop Underlings, because let's be honest, it's probably why you're here. So if we look at the structure to the left, this is what we're shooting to build. It's a 5x5 being 3 tiered with only 1 block space in between. And our crop Underling is going to be in this middle tier. So getting another look at this, you're going to see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The bottom tier is just going to be 5x5 filled with seeds. The middle tier is going to be all filled except for the middle. We're going to leave open so we can place our Underling anchor there. And this top one, you could leave this all filled. I personally like to leave just the middle one blank and empty, so that way I can just jump down and grab the inventory. The reason why we're doing 5x5 is because without any equipment, the Underling's best reach for crops is just a 5x5 radius. So this is going to be your best, most efficient farm for all the crops except for 2. I'll talk about that more here in a moment. But as you can see already, our Underling is absolutely grabbing from the bottom row. He's going to grab from the middle row, and at some point he's going to go ahead and start grabbing from the top row. So he can grab below himself and above himself. And the great thing is, by the time that he cycles through all of this, all the crops that he's went ahead and farmed and replaced with seeds should have already grown, or there's a very short delay maybe in between. Now again, you could go ahead and put a block here in the middle and put 1 extra seed if you'd like. I just don't feel like it's worth the little bit less of efficiency. I like the convenience. Now, when it comes to getting rich, you're going to want to do this especially with watermelons or pumpkins. And if you have all 28 Underlings unlocked, what you're going to do is you want to build 28 of these on your island, with each of them being that specific, whether it be watermelon or pumpkin Underling. Now, my caveat is you technically only need 1 block space in between your builds of these, 5x5s. Like say this is where you start your new one. I personally like to actually have 3 blocks in between before I then started on this 4th block. I would do like a 5x5 here. And that's just because I'm old-fashioned. In a prior update, you did need to have 3 blocks space in between, otherwise the Underlings would kind of start sharing their inventory and get a little funky. But me personally, I also like the peace of mind, like saying if they ever change things again, it might not, mess things up by having 1 block in between. But it's really up to you and your preference. To me, a couple extra spaces for peace of mind wasn't a big deal. Now, I did say there was 2 crops that this does not work for, and it's going to be these 2 over here. These are our tall crops. You're going to see tomatoes, and we got corn. Now, for corn, we're going to just do a 5x5 with 1 tier. With tomatoes, we're just going to do 2 tiers. And the reason for this is because, again, we can't do 1 block in between because the game won't let us. They're too tall. We have to go up 2 tiers, and unfortunately, if I were to make, say, a 3rd tier being 2 tiers up, the underling will not be able to reach both the bottom and the top. So in this case, we went ahead and put 2 tiers with our underling on the bottom because it's easier for him to grab from the top than it is to grab below. And the other issue is that it does kind of slow him down a little bit, where he's not going to farm this 5x5 as quickly as if there wasn't this top tier, but because there's extra seeds and being this other top tier, that's why there's extra seeds, and because of the grow time of tomatoes being so long, that it really doesn't slow him down. It actually gives him about 3 extra crops per growth rotation than if we only just did 1 tier. So it's not really a big extra boost for doing the 2nd tier. You could do what we did over here with the corn if you'd like, just the 1 tier 5x5, but I mean, hey, it's up to you. Now, again, the reason why we're not doing this with corn though is because corn grows too fast. If I were to go ahead and put the 2nd tier, it would actually slow down our corn underling so much that he'd actually be doing worse, in my opinion, from my kind of little bit of research here. So go ahead and tinker with it, make it your own, but this is what I believe is the best setup for each. So that's the crop underlings. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our ore underlings. So now this is where things get interesting. Here we have an ore underling, and the issue with them is that they have a very large range that they can go ahead and spawn blocks from, which is 13 by 13 from their anchor. So this is a very large area that they need to operate in, which does make them pretty inefficient because, as you can see here, they have to run all the way over to go ahead and mine that block. Now, this does make them a little bit inefficient. And at the same point, if you think about it, if you have 28 of these across a 13 by 13 area, because you really don't want to overlap them because that can cause them to act all weird and wonky, what you're going to see is that it's just a lot of space. So I don't recommend doing that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and break our little friend here. And as you can see, they can spawn on any kind of block. So any grass or ore or even wood. If there's something within that 13 by 13 area, and they can even go technically a block up or a block down to spawn these type of stone or ore blocks, it's really going to be one of those things where it's going to be hard to kind of manage that, because then they can't reach it, and then they're going to just sit there idle while they're trying to reach a block they may not be able to get to. So what I recommend is we're going to go ahead and stack them. And it does have to be a little bit further out from any other area, because if I tried doing this over here where my diamond wall is, I would not doubt, if we're within our 13 block radius, that they would start spawning the ores on these walls, and that would just cause them to keep plumbing to their doom. So we're going to go about 4 blocks out. That's just for my peace of mind. You don't really have to go that far out, but what we really want to do is go at least 3 blocks down. That's just because they can, again, like I said before, they can technically go 1 up or even 1 down. So from here, I should be able to put 1 underling right here by himself. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to put the next one underneath him and just kind of stack them like this. And as we're going to watch here, is they're going to go ahead and do their thing. Now, I would continue to build down because I don't have fly. So as I'm, saying I want to go ahead and grab the, inventory from them, I'm going to open it right here and just kind of glide down with my glider. You could also technically do it by just jumping down a little bit, because once you hit the side of these being stacked like this, you can actually kind of climb up them if you want to keep it jumping. But as you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and just grab what I can from their inventory if I want, and just kind of work my way down. Now, I don't recommend doing any like another line here, or doing rows of 5, because again, they're going to be able to kind of chase after each other's blocks, and then if they're within that 13 by 13 radius, it does mess with them. So what I would recommend is just continue to build downward. Now, if you have fly, then who cares? You can just go ahead and build them up, build them down, whichever your preference is, because you won't have to worry about gliding these up or doing like I just did where I just fell. So, I mean, it is a little bit trickier to go ahead and collect, but as you can see here, they do just fine in going ahead and gathering the ores themselves. And you can just stack them downward and just make sure, again, there's nothing else near them in a 13 by 13 area, being both 1 block up and 1 block down. So this is our ore underlings. This works for all of them. Doesn't matter which ore underling you want to use. So this is just what I believe is perfect because again, they don't have to run around. The blocks they're trying to mine are right next to each other. So they're real quick, real easy, and this is a great way to get, building blocks or anything that you're trying to sell or craft. You can get them pretty quickly. But now we're gonna go ahead and go on to our next topic, the wood underlings. All right, now we're going to have a pretty simple one to do, and it's just one block followed by 2 grass blocks for any of our wood underlings. Now, if we are going to go ahead and maybe lay down multiple of these, there does need to be a 6 block gap in between, which you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the blank 6 spot before we went ahead and laid down the next one. So you don't want to have it anything closer than that because I've attempted to do this, and anything closer, the tree, when it spawns on the other one, the other underling will try and lead to its death to try and get to that tree. So this way, they're only going after their own trees. You do want to make sure that you're building them in an area where they have plenty of vertical space because as you can see, these things get pretty big. And at the same point, you also want to make sure that you're not near any other grass. And this is why I'm on this side of the island. If I were trying to do this over on the other side where there's all the grass and the flowers at, it would be populating some trees in areas I don't want them to go to, and they're going to try and reach them, and it's just going to make things inefficient. So pretty straightforward and simple. Just, lay out 28 of these and just keep going out every 7th block gap in between. You can go ahead and create another one. So, and then that way, again, they're not chasing around their radius. They're just farming or cutting what's right in front of them. So with that, we have our last underling to cover. All right, and last but not least, we have our flower underlings, and these girls just got to be about 7 blocks in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the reason being is because they actually have a 6x6 radius. So if I put, say, the block here and it spawns a flower here, that's going to be within that 6 block radius. And this flower underling is going to go ahead and chase after that one flower. So in this case, they're going to just stay right near their anchor. You could technically put them down on the ground, but they will actually spawn flowers on stone. So by putting them up on this pedestal here, they just only spawn right next to their grass block and they don't have to go anywhere. So this is the quickest way to, of course, get flowers. Now, before you ask, no, you cannot get rainbow flowers from flower underlings. So don't we wish? You cannot also get mushrooms either. So this is only for the original normal colors such as red, yellow, green, black, blue, and white. So but that's all of our underlings. Now let's go ahead and talk about the equipment and what does that do. And again, equipments are these cool little things that we can add in these slots here for our underlings. So let's dive right in. Now, the last topic of our video, we're going to talk about equipments and what these are. These are items that you can unlock through the collections here, such as, say, under ores. You're going to see that you can unlock them, and they're in different ones. There's not one in every single type of collection, but they're in most. And what these do is they give some type of boost or benefit to your underling. There is 8 of them. You're going to see that there is 7 that you can unlock through collections. The last one right now, you'd have to go to the shop, and we're going to go all the way down, and there it is, the auto seller, which you'd have to pay Robux for. Now, we're going to go through each one of these and how these can help, and some of them are going to be more beneficial for certain type of underlings than others. So first we got the accelerator. It reduces underling rest time after collecting a resource. So there isn't really an underling that this would not be a benefit for. Most likely your crops are what you're going to throw this on. Now keep in mind, you can only unlock a certain number of these. Like for example, you can only have right now 2 accelerators. You can purchase as many of the auto sellers as you want. Auto seller, just to kind of real quickly cover that, it just basically says when equipped, the underling will automatically sell the resource that it gathers. So if you put it on a flower underling, it's going to sell the flowers, it's not going to gather them. You're going to put it on a crop underling, it's going to sell the crops, which really is usually how you're going to use this, probably on like a watermelon underling or pumpkin underling. And then there's also, like, you could technically throw it on ores as well, or the wood ones, and they'll just sell it instead of keeping any of it. So it is going to automatically give you money, but me personally, I like to gather it myself and sell it, because you can kind of just sell all anyways. So I don't see a benefit of these, but hey, a lot of people do, and you can technically argue that it's worth buying just so that you have everything and you have something that maybe someone else doesn't. So, but going back to this, So next we have amplifier. Amplifier increases resource detection range of an underling. This will only benefit, really in my opinion, one underling, and that's the crop underlings. That type of underling definitely benefits from this. So instead of doing a 5x5 square with being 3 tiers, we're going to do a 7x7 for any of the tiers that we're creating. So of course, if you're doing corn, just one 7x7. If you're doing tomato, 2 tiers of 7x7. And if you're going to do, of course, any other crop, it's going to be now 3 tiers of 7x7, because you now, instead of 5x5, you add 2 blocks to their range where they're going to be able to farm a lot more. So you definitely want to use these on your crop underlings. So you can only do it on 2 of them, but it's definitely worth it, getting that extra boost of range and being able to, and maybe with accelerator, kind of gather it even quicker. Book of Wisdom. This is great for if there's any kind of like, you want to unlock, say, the watermelon block or the pumpkin block. So this is saying that your underlings will actually give you XP as they work. There's only 3 of them, so it is going to still take a while. But hey, now you can do it passively. You can go ahead and stay on your island, get rich, while also maxing out that mastery at the same time. Haste boots. This is going to be really just increasing their movement speed. This would have been better for, like, say, the ores or the flour, because they kind of have to run around. But really, since we have a very efficient format, it's really not going to be that beneficial. Maybe on a crop underling, I really don't see the benefit of this one as of right now. We have the Plentifier. It gives the underling the looting effect, meaning that every time it go ahead and farms a crop, it has a 50% chance to go ahead and get an extra crop, so, or any resource. So really, there's not a bad underling to put this on. Whatever you're needing of a resource, this is just going to give you that 50% of the time an extra drop, so you're going to get a lot more resource a lot quicker. Pulverizer, increase underlings damage. This is going to be really good for mainly like the higher wood HPs, like the web wood or the dark hollow wood, or even the more higher ores like, say, gold underling. Give them the ability to go ahead and break those ores a little bit quicker. And then, of course, quick strike. It also gives them the increased speed to go ahead and deal damage. So really, kind of these two combination really should kind of break those tougher blocks a lot quicker. Again, not really seeing any real benefit of putting this on a crop underling. So that's all of our equipments. So with that, let's go ahead and close out our video. And that brings us to the end of our video. I hope that you found that this video was helpful. Lord knows I've seen a lot of times in the High Realms Discord chat, people are posting, asking about how do you build certain type of underling farms. I've even been DM'd myself directly asking, hey, what do you do for this or that? So I figured this was a good time to go ahead and release a video like this. Now, there's a caveat. Keep in mind, there is a huge revamp coming in a few weeks. Now, with that being said, there could be some changes on how underlings work again. So, of course, if that happens, I will try and strive to make a update video like I have before when changes happen. But of course, that can take time, because then I'm going to have to test and see what works and what doesn't. But of course, if there's anything else you want me to go ahead and cover before the revamp, please don't hesitate. Drop in the comment section below. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Please tell your friends and family members about High Realms, playing the game, and tell them about my channel along the way, because I hope that I can help them just as much as I'm helping you right now. But with that being said, I hope you have a good morning, good day, good night, but most importantly, God bless. Thanks for watching.